Okay, so PIXLR is a very simple free editing website that you can use for your photos. Some of you can even download the app on your cell phones to use, but it's just a super free, easy way to do it. There are two versions. There's PIXLR X and PIXLR E. PIXLR X, super simple photo editing, filters, crop, rotate, things like that. PIXLR E, we will use more when we get into doing things like double exposures, glitch effects. It's more like an advanced free Photoshop. So we're going to start with PIXLR X. So when you are in PIXLR X, you're going to start by either opening an image, which basically is where you would find the photos that you have taken and put on your Chromebook. So I have one of my dog when we were on a hike, so I'm just going to use that one. And I'm just going to quickly run through these examples to show you. Properties is the easy way to rotate and flip your images. So super simple way to rotate and flip and resize. When you move down, this is layers. We won't really talk much about layers in this simple version. We'll talk more about layers when we get into further projects. Crop, very simple. Crop is when you are cropping your photo. So you can crop and you can save, or you can undo. Cutout, if you wanted to remove your background, you can experiment with this tool. So you can cut out shapes, you can remove things in a background, you can cut out in certain shapes like hearts, stars, circles, triangles, squares. Adjust is really where you're going to do a lot of your photo editing. This is where you could change a photo to black and white, where you could invert your images, play around with vibrance of color, play around with saturation, temperature, how warm or cool the image is, tint, hue, lightness would be, how bright something is, your exposures, contrast, your blacks and whites, so making the blacks more vivid, making the whites more vivid, highlights, shadows. I'm just kind of running through these real quick because it's all about what you want. So obviously you can try to edit undo if you don't like something, just to get you back. Okay, so that's adjust. Filters are a fun thing that you can play around with. That's going to do things like sharpen, clarity, smooth, blur, grain. A vignette is kind of like the shadows that are surrounding your image. Fringe is like a little bit of a glitch effect. We'll talk about a lot more of these later, but if you want to have time to just play around with those, this is where you would do that. So if you click on effects, these are like pre-made filters. So these are going to be ways that you can kind of just take a pre-made filter and apply it to your image. Edit undo is usually very helpful for these. Liquify is just kind of a filter effect. We'll talk more about this in class. Your retouching we'll talk more about in class. You can draw on top of things. You can add text, add different elements, and add images on top. So when you are experimenting with PIXLR, just kind of play around with those different tools that are available to you. Probably cropping, rotating, resizing, and then the adjust would be probably the key ones that you'll be using in class. Anytime you do edits or changes, make sure that you save and change the name of whatever you're doing it. So if I, change this to black and white, I would want to change it to black and white on the title, and always make sure that you're saving them as JPEGs, and those files will download for you on your Chromebook to access.